I can do the cast something. I can live outro, intro, right? The track here is a Xenoblade Chronicles, Engage the Enemy. Probably one of the most epic tracks I've ever listened to. Not just in Xenoblade, but just overall. From music everywhere. And I fucking love this part of the guitar, and it's like almost isolated except for like the synth bass and the synth pad as well. I didn't even notice that before. There's also some guitars cutting in as well, which is also insane. That's low volume. It's just crazy amount of detail and composition in this as well, and this piano part as well. There's some synths, some actual symphonic instruments, violin, here and viola. Yeah, it's fascinating. It goes into this melody with actual choir voice, is it? Or I don't know what you call it actually. Female vocalist. Actually, that's later. This violin part also is just beautiful. It's so good. I always considered covering this track before, but I realised I couldn't even top this. Like, it's just so fucking peak as it is. As are pretty much every Xenoblade track like this. Always peak. I just love the mix of electronic and stuff in this as well. Like when the choir comes in, it's just so fucking epic. And then there's a key change at the end. It has an outro with some piano descending. Yeah. Also, if you haven't listened to the Xenoblade Chronicles tracks and stuff, 1 through 2, 3, and also the other one was, I think it was X, was it? I can't remember if I actually listened to that. But you need to listen to these, basically. I think if there's one soundtrack that really is underrated, other than Danganronpa, I think I'll put Xenoblade above that. It's just the problem is I keep forgetting to say Xenoblade. Genuinely, these are fucking amazing, as always. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the first topic. You want to know the most tiring thing about the news? It's like it isn't actually news. That's the irony of this. So, it's so saddening when you realise that the world is in such a bad state, and you've known this for a while. It turns out people don't take the next step. Instead they do protest, but they don't do direct action. And people seem to think you can get somewhere by just using words, but again, this doesn't work anymore. It's already been proven not to work. And so it always leaves me a little worried about what's just going to happen next. Because it's never certain. Apparently there's this, I think there's like a ceasefire sign with Trump and Saudis and stuff. Or other stuff in the war, I think. But I literally just cannot bring myself to care. Because unless the next news thing to come out is, oh, Trump's been killed, or oh, the war stopped, like legitimately, and we can prove this, I just don't give a shit anymore. It's the same with the genocide of Palestinians and Lebanon and whoever else it is that Israel is targeting, in the West Bank as well. But even then, it's a similar thing, I guess, with like, Ukraine and Russia to an extent. Even though it's probably a more under control situation than these two, I'm still almost not really interested, because I think at the end of the day, the world is at risk of this shit. And the same for like reform in the UK. I'm just waiting to hear the news that either fraud has stepped down or that reform councils have been denied their seats, and now there has to be a recount because of that. Just waiting for that news so that there is actual hope in the end. But again, I was so sick and tired of seeing every single fucking day a new tweet from Trump, a new war crime from Netanyahu, and obviously Russia's still invading Ukraine. I'm tired of it. I don't really want to hear this shit anymore. Because it is legitimately tiring. It feels absolutely just despairing. And there's even more things that legitimately make things confusing. What was I thinking of with this? I can't even remember. There was something I was thinking of that happened recently. I can't remember. Although there was that, what was it called? The mosque shooting. I haven't read into it, but I heard the two people who did that were pretty young and committed suicide at the end because they were radicalised by the neo-Nazis. Again, this just feels like it's going to keep happening. If anything, my advice to people of religion is actually rather to stay, indoors, not go to a place of gathering like this anymore, and just be streetwise as well. So unfortunately, I think there's even a case to be made where if your religion requires you to dress a certain way, you do have to defy that now because your life is legitimately in danger. Because there is a rise of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, among other things. There's even anti-Christian hatred becoming more common now. And yet the only way you're going to deal with this, to address it, is probably by actually getting rid of these guises, getting rid of these communities, because, as in, not going to them. That's what I mean by getting rid of them. Not the correct word though. Stop going to these communities because that's a hot spot for all this sort of bullshit. Let me look at mosques. Do children go to mosques? I'm actually going to look into this. San Diego. It just comes off no news. Ain't took under investigation. San Diego shooting. Hate crime. Not really any reliable sources. It's just CNN, but it's actually. It is CNN. Wait, that's not. It's a follow thing. Attackers who killed 3 people Monday at San Diego. Shared a live video of the shooting as well as a lengthy written document citing racist, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic ideology. So they're not even necessarily religious people in that sense, so they don't care. So assuming this is to be believed. Firing weapons inside the mosque. Displaying Nazi and white supremacy images on that weapon. I wonder if that's planted though. That's the thing about this that makes me a bit worried as well, because you can't really believe everything you see these days. It's often more complex. Like the 17-year-old King Clark, 18-year-old Caleb Fuskwas. That is not an English name. So I don't know where the racism comes from. Video and a 75-page hate-filled screed apparently written. Researchers, dialogue, studies extremism. Yeah, obviously it's horrible. It's extremely bothersome with this sort of news as well, because it's going to keep happening. But also, maybe they were traumatized by this, traumatized by the fact that they've just killed people, because it legitimately will cause problems. That's just something that's going to happen. And yeah, this is a problem with the sides that people fight on. the truth is, as someone who isn't even politically leaning anywhere, on purpose, if you do encourage people to fight, with hatred in their, what do you call it, bones, veins, they're going to do shit like this and then regret it. Because obviously they're not built for this, and it's an unusual thing as well. Horrible to mention. And the world is just going to be upside down for them that moment onwards, even if they did survive. Once again, it's extreme fucking concern. Also this rhetoric again, that being racist, being anything anti-religion is gonna backfire. Not only as a society, but also the religions itself. That's always gonna fucking happen. And this can only change when you stop pushing that violence, and when you start arresting people for said violence, for said hate speech. The difference is at least when I was talking about stomping up fascism before, the difference is we're actually dealing with people who do that, who want that stuff to happen, who laugh at it. It's sort of like what I said with reform voters who don't deserve any sort of dignity in dying or death. It's because they mock anyone who's a different race, anyone who's a different religion, no matter what age they are. They literally laugh at I can't remember what nationality she was, but definitely not English, but a 5-year-old who's been raped. And this is like a Facebook post, by the way. There's literally people mocking this child in the comments after being raped. And that shows you the amount of apathy there is and psychopathy in society. So again, these people do not deserve any fucking empathy. As well as myself, with someone who has hyper empathy, I just stopped caring after a certain point. These people didn't acknowledge that they had an issue to begin with, where they could laugh at that sort of thing. They didn't bother changing it. They didn't even turn to the side that's essentially against it. So why should we even give them any sympathy? Fuck, I'm probably turning it into like left's Charlie Kirk or something, but I don't know anymore. Because this shit just keeps happening. And it won't stop happening until obviously the right people are gotten rid of. And I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I don't really know what else to add, but again, that's sort of frustrating news. As well as a revelation, essentially, because, yeah, the only good news at this point is hearing that people might be creating an uprising or a civil war or something else just to deal with corruption in government. And also the rise of hatred. So, that's the only news I'm interested in at this point. That's probably me now, signing off. So here's something that comes to mind, and I still need to watch the video while I'm on that. I forget every now and then that they have bullet trains in Japan, and they are fucking insanely fast. I saw a shot of someone recording it, and what do you know? It is extremely fast. And it gets me worried about the future, because in a way it's like, where the hell are bullet trains in the UK? Especially they could probably be like solar fuel and stuff. So I'm just confused about what the idea is exactly. And why have we not got anything? So it just doesn't make sense in that way. But there's a thing that came up recently in my personal life, which is basically an opportunity to meet people. And the unfortunate reality is the train ride would take just under 2 hours. Yeah, no thanks. That's not even worth it. Because even then the drive there might just be a bit quicker. But the fact that a train ride would take under 2 hours for what isn't even a massive distance, a long distance, is ridiculous. Like, what? Like, why is this a thing? Are you serious? We've got a big fucking rail system and we can't even reduce times. I don't understand that. It seriously doesn't make any sense. I cannot comprehend the idea, and also, something about the calculation that doesn't really add up. That's another thing that sort of bothers me about this, because I looked at the times and stuff and they're all pretty much the same. There's no faster ones, there's no slower ones. They're all the same. So, on top of that, you've got that issue. But then it makes me wonder, because of the fact that they are so slow, these trains are so slow, I just end up not wanting to go places I could otherwise go to. And that's really like the big issue here. So it makes me wonder as well, like what other advantages we could see as a result of a bullet train system in the UK as compared to, well, the current system. I don't know what the top speed of these trains are, but having lived near them for a long time, probably, I'd say like 70 miles per hour to 80. Probably the fastest I've seen them go. But that's just like when they speed past rather than, you know, actually like stop by and ramp up the speed. It's just when they're speeding past. So imagine the speed when they slow down and then have to go fast again. It is such a disappointment in that sense. And then you just have to take into account, even though I can like seeing things on the journey, like the environment and stuff, which itself can be gorgeous because it's the UK. Strangely enough, we have some good scenes there. It just feels very disappointing because you're there for longer than you should be looking at these environments. So it's like a stretch of land, sort of farmland or something with animals on. Admittedly, not the nicest sight, but still nice to see animals, especially out and about. But then it turns out that, you know, you're there for longer than you should be. You're going 40 miles per hour or something, and you're there staring at it for about 10-15 minutes. That's just not very optimal, in my opinion. It's just shit. So why would I even want to do that? Like, it's so dumb. I don't know why there isn't a bullet train system. Then compare that to a bullet train, I mean, you probably cut that in half or even more. So a stretch of farmland only goes on for an amount of time. So again, it just doesn't make sense. You know, I don't know if that's ever going to happen in the UK. If it did, I'd definitely try it, but I've also seen complaints, and I did try to read on it, and it didn't really make sense of it. It didn't really speak English to me for some reason. But yeah, it's just bad. So what did it say? It said one of them was about like the capacity or something, which doesn't make sense because if it's bullet trains, then it's going to go fucking faster, ain't it? So you're going to drop off people in a faster amount of time with essentially the same amount of capacity. So I don't know. It's very weird. But yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So I need to talk about it. Alright, so I heard about the PlayStation subscription increase in price, and them saying it's because of economic changes, which, as we know now, is pretty arbitrary. But again, it's like, I've been saying this for a while now, and to repeat what I said, this just makes it an argument for piracy, and for that matter, even just client-side multiplayer in case of the subscription where you need it for multiplayer. So yeah, it's also an argument for stop killing games as well, probably, in that it ties into that. Like, oh, you need to buy a subscription to play multiplayer, but oh, the game's dead. So you just wasted your money. Like, okay. But this is the problem. Why are they even doing this? Because I don't see how financially this could even benefit you. Like, it's so fucking weird. It's bizarre. Like, what do I even say about this? So basically, when you see that prices are increasing all over the place, the most rational thing to do as a corporation is to obviously decrease the prices, because you'll probably get more subscribers than any other fucking corporation. So the trend there will be the more successful ones will be the cheapest. And then that stops piracy as well. So people no longer feel the need to pirate things. So that's why that's a thing, essentially. I could be wrong, but that's the way I see it. But it's so disappointing to see, obviously, this shite with prices increasing instead and ruining the economy in the process. Like, I'm trying to think, what did I used to get, like, from Tesco, for example, about, I don't know, maybe like tin tomatoes, but it's probably related to, I don't know, tin tomatoes. I have quite a few of them. I'm pretty sure the price used to be like 39p, but that's 43p. I don't know if that's right. Or maybe I look at something like Plant Chef Tofu, if they still sell that, which a few years ago used to be reasonably cheap. And you know what, it still is to an extent. For some reason there's two types. Don't know what that's about. There's one smoked, so that's the difference. But I'm pretty sure it used to be a bit cheaper than this. It's £1.95. I'm pretty sure it's less than that before. But you know, no matter where you look, it's probably just like the brands are not, you know, their own brand that are just increasing in prices. It's hard to name examples because again this was like so long ago, unless I look at a receipt. It's hard to say, but everything is increasing in prices, not just groceries, it's also everything in between, subscriptions, bills, rent. It's all increasing, and this makes it very unsustainable. And when I say piracy is essentially justifiable under this form of economy, I mean that in every way possible. Like, it's obvious. So you might see someone who just does piracy in real life, like we already are seeing to an extent. You see people committing heists and stuff for Pokemon cards, essentially. And that's where this economy leads to. If anything, it's damaging businesses, especially corporations as well. And that's what the price increase gets you. Where, obviously, billionaire corporations and stuff can take a hit with money. They don't slash their extra pay, they don't slash anything except for the minimum wage that the employees get. So it always backfires. And this is why it becomes almost justifiable, like nearly perfectly. Because all this shit leads to that. When other routes are blocked from you because you can't afford it, and you're also used to the way of living as well, which is another factor that needs to be addressed. People are just going to go for the source. They're going to go and get these things instead. They're going to rob you, they're going to rob corporations, they're going to hack corporations. As I said, every time a price increase happens, it justifies piracy. And it's not even a case where everything just inflates, the price goes up, like the pound goes up or whatever. It's literally because at this current moment, there is no stability, so people can get paid enough to support the increasing prices. At the moment it's just artificially inflated, much like the price of oil and gas, which obviously is a result of Trump, but the problem with that is he started it. He's the one who did it, and then he's justifying the piracy, where now you're probably going to get people stealing gas, like taking it, driving away. Even going to get like proxies or something who go in and get it, and then obviously abandon, like I said, vehicle and take away the other things. So when they're out of sight, they can say transfer it. You know, so many evil things that happen as a result of these price increases. It starts to become a scarcity. So everyone stockpiling on fuel is probably not going to get much because, again, piracy is going to be more frequent and people are going to steal it. People are going to make it a living hell, essentially, and there's no way to stop it. The corporations will somehow believe that there is a way, but it's not. Like everything you see nowadays is only a result of like artificial evolution, I call it. I don't know what to actually call it though, but more like societal evolution, where everything we're trying to do to evolve can end up backfiring, and when it backfires hard. We've seen that more than once in society. Removing people's rights to vote, for example, or having them not even there to begin with, and then even acknowledging people as people in itself was a fight to have. And again, the violent solution becomes the option there because there is no other way out of it. It becomes extremely damaging, especially in this economy, and you'll start to see riots. You'll start to see that hundreds of thousands of people have been laid off and they can't afford the electricity because we have data centres, and then what do you know, there's a riot. Like, what are you going to fucking do then? I guarantee you the rioters are going to target the data centres immediately, but this is still why there's a massive problem, because again, they've ignored every consequence of these things, and this is the thing with billionaires and corporations. They need to be punished. They need to be tried for murder. They need to be tried for robbery. They need to be tried for so many different things that they're obviously guilty of, and money doesn't play a factor in this. It shouldn't, ever. Because when it comes to the victims, it's not going to be about the money. They just want to see justice done. That's why that's so important. They don't even want compensation, they want justice. And that's again the argument for piracy in full effect. You know, someone could have like someone who suffers with asthma who lives near a data centre. I have asthma myself, it's horrible to go through. But it turns out that the AI data centres are triggering asthma attacks. And then it kills them. So what happens then? People start to get really riled up and pissed off and see this happens more. It starts to happen to old people, it starts to happen to them. And then they fight back. They destroy the data centre, justifiably so. And that's what you brought on yourself. That's always the way it's going to turn out. They see a big problem, it's life-threatening, they're going to deal with it. They're not just going to sit still. And obviously it's the same with everything. Like I said, everything digital, everything physical. Piracy is just going to be a common thing. And all thanks to greedy billionaires, who, as I've done the calculations of, having 1,000 million in currency, they can already feed a population a decent amount. I calculated it, and I think, I can't remember how I divided it exactly. But it was like an amount of money that obviously it'll bring to the economy. So it'd be like a million something towards something else, and it depends on obviously the amount they get. But that could support like thousands of people, thousands of jobs, thousands of different things. And that's again the injustice here. That also justifies piracy. It's only a matter of time before we start seeing headlines where people start hacking into them, hacking into their bank accounts, stealing it, distributing it. Like, there's no flaw in that. There's no immorality in that. Because again, it's being justified. Every time I see these price increases, I just see an argument for piracy again and again. There's never any in between, there's no buts, there's no what ifs. intent is very clear, and so you've chosen war. So anyway, I don't have anything else to add to this, but that's essentially what that's about. So yeah, let's move on. Well, I thought I'd be talking about this, but sure. You know, I've observed some gameplay of Forza Horizon 6, and it's extremely appealing. I'm actually surprised how appealing it is, because it just has such a variety of vehicles in it, from what I can see, that makes it pretty unique above the rest, because as someone who grew up with Burnout Paradise, one of the only appeals in that, well, supposedly, is that a lot of the cars weren't necessarily based on, like, they weren't based on real cars, you know what I mean, but they weren't exactly copies. But it was also just mainly new cars, so it had that appeal to it, but also sort of a bad part of it. Like looking at the thing, I looked up the page now. Like the Carson Grand Marias, like holy fuck, this car looks old. The Carson Opus, Carson Thunder Shadow, like Jesus Christ. I imagine that's like a Dodge vehicle. They do have the Dodge vehicles here. Like the Manhattan, they have a fucking truck. Remember the Hunter Vegas? I used to play with that car a lot for some reason. No idea why. The first cars I did, and every time I did a playthrough on this game, I actually got the Uberschall. I can't remember what it's fucking called now. But I get the Uberschall by doing the multiplayer stuff. It's like a kind of rare car, I think. I fell in love with like the Janssen P12 Diamond, and yeah. Where is the Uberschall anyway? It's not on the list. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Complete full sets of 3-burn challenges, that's it. Yeah, sounds familiar. But you know, this is the appeal of the game. And obviously it had the mechanics of like strength, speed, and well, whatever green was. I think it was like agility or something. And that's what made the game kind of unique. It was different. Yeah, they also added other things like legendary cars from obviously movies, and then the toy cars, which are fucking fun. Like, they literally didn't take itself too seriously, and yeah, there's so many good things about this. But without a doubt, one of the cool things about Forza Horizon is that even though they have real cars, you can customize them however you want. You can put custom liveries on it and stuff. But they also have that range of cars that you just wouldn't expect. They even have the fucking Warthog. I'm watching a stream of it now. The Warthog from Halo. What the fuck? It's so random. Sure. But also seeing that they have those cars with the pop-up headlights as well, which is great. So it's not just like sports cars and, you know, hatchbacks and stuff. Well, everything is hatchbacks anyway. He's also got these like old school Japanese cars, the initial D car, limousine apparently, even like a buggy. It's fucking insane how they have on this sometimes. But you know, I'm not familiar with the Forza Horizon games because it never really appealed to me initially. But eventually, you know, with this release of this, I am genuinely interested. Also, it depends on how the obviously the optimization goes in terms of content too. But it does legitimately look fun and looks interesting. But other than like the car variety and all that, it also seems to have some of the buildings of what made Burnout Paradise great, which is like collectibles and finding things around the world, giving you an incentive to do it. To be able to get out and unlock things, which I think you can do in this. Although I see one problem with the gambling thing. I don't know if it's a loot box. I don't think so anyway. Couldn't tell. I'm not sure about the gambling mechanic. It seems a bit weird to me, a bit off-putting. I even have a monster truck. Is that monster truck or is that just normal truck? There's a Back to the Future car. Interesting. Um, cursed liveries on that. Yeah, it's genuinely interesting. I've actually seen one of those cars in real life, actually. Damn, what was it called again? I know it's a DeLorean, obviously, in that, but there's a DeLorean in the movies as well. I don't know, I've seen one in real life, and they're pretty cool. Um, yeah. What else to say? The graphics in the game actually are pretty damn good. I think, as far as graphics go, it's actually very impressive outside of character models, which are a bit in areas. But it definitely works, it does a job. But especially the environments look fascinating. I'm watching Ms. Cupcake's stream on this so far, and I just saw someone fucking get knocked off the edge of the mountain by her drifting, which is just funny as fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. But the fact you can even do that shit as well is so interesting, because one of the worst parts of Burnout Paradise was the cameras on, just got on like crashing and stuff, which admittedly can be funny and interesting, but at the same time it's annoying when you're actually doing like a serious race. And in this game you don't really get it. I don't even know if you take damage on it, to be honest. So it's very interesting to see that. Yeah, like, again, the amount of destruction you can do is kind of fascinating. So the map looks huge. What did I say that? I can't remember. But it looks big. There's a crazy amount of detail. It's actually insane. It's almost like what we want a Burnout game to be, but obviously bigger, better. That is probably entirely possible, especially if you like mod the bloody game itself. You can just add like drift and the mechanics of Burnout with like crashing and stuff. Obviously that gimmick rather. It's on my list of games to play though, actually, Burnout 3. I was gonna skip like the first two, I believe, but Burnout Revenge I think was the one I got. I want to play that at some point, because it has me interested. Obviously all that destruction stuff can be fascinating. I remember playing that around a friend's house once. And yeah, that was fun. Weirdly enough, I still have the memory of what we ate that day, which was a cheese and tomato pasta bake and chicken nuggets. Yeah, simpler times, obviously. I've actually tried to imitate that actually before. Obviously, veganise it. It sort of works. It doesn't perfectly though. Depends on what you get though. To be honest, they've fucked up the recipes for nuggets now for quite a while, and the only good ones are probably Lidl's and what's the other one? I think still has to go to M&S, although Impossible Nuggets are actually pretty good. I've tried them. Actually really surprised the people I know. I gave them a bit to try and it's like, what the fuck? These are realistic. Yeah. Yeah, Forza Horizon 6 looks pretty insane from what I've seen in the gameplay. I don't know if there's like an actual soundtrack for this or like, radio system. It's hard to find that out because there's like streamer mode enabled and stuff, but it played like Initial D, which was not surprising. Also, it's based in Japan, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It has that. If true, if real. I mean, trying to think what else there is. Like, hopefully there's false shuffle and stuff. I just find it quite interesting. It's just, we need to see more games like this. It's not surprising that people are playing this a lot. But also, that's the other thing. I hear the race, like, I like when a game doesn't exactly take itself seriously. There's a literal fucking Gundam You fucking race. Or mech, I don't know what it actually is. Is it Gundam or is it... I don't think it could be an angel, could it? I think it's a Gundam, but you know, you're racing it. It does this insane stuff, it's crazy. Yeah, I love when games do that, it's kind of surprising. You just really wouldn't expect that. Yeah. Honestly, I can only hope this game does things well. It genuinely seems like it could be one of the best racing games of all time. I could be wrong, but it seems like it could happen for sure. As we're seeing with updates, it could possibly get better. I don't know. Don't really know too much about the game. I think I'd need to look at reviews and stuff. Actually, it's on Steam, isn't it? So, let's have a look. Forza. £60? Are you fucking kidding me? That's rip off. Is it worth that much though? There's a bunch of DLC, great. It's not good. Premium edition, yikes. That ain't good. 86% positive review rate. People report stuttering, not surprising. Sort of half expected that with the appearance of the game. What else? Sounds like a GPU issue actually. 1,000 people found the review helpful. Okay. Why are people putting this for fucking funny emote? What the hell? I don't know. Yeah, like, a lot of positive reviews and what specs are we looking at here? RTX 5080, oh there goes my play. RTX 4070, RTX 3070, okay, that's a positive review. Game is beautiful. However, no price review is second crash in Northern region map. Probably needs more work. I recommended this game because apart from the crashes, okay. Yeah, it's a useful thing with Steam reviews now because it shows the specs. I think if I do get to reviewing these sort of games, I'll probably need to add that. Yeah, honestly, it does look fascinating. Probably could sit down and watch someone play this. Obviously not focus on it, but you know, just have it in the background. It seems like it could be a lot of fun to watch. Certainly areas by the looks of it. Just actually the scale of the fucking map, like Jesus Christ, how much of it can you actually get onto? Like genuinely, how long did this even take to make? Because it is shocking how big it is. Like what the fuck? Let me double check. Has it used AI? Apparently not. Which is even more impressive. Yeah. But as I said, it's like definitely good and bad things about this, but looks like it could be very interesting. Oh boy. And just to see what more comes out about this. And also the fact it's based in Japan obviously is going to be an appeal in itself. To actually have the actual cars here, yeah. Yeah, they actually trademarks vehicles here, which is also pretty fascinating. They will have the Japanese cars. I see a Nissan Skyline. I remember that from the Top Gear days when I used to watch that show. Good show, terrible people. Well, I'm not sure about Richard Hammond and James May, but I know Clarkson, a bit of a cunt really. Yeah, it's probably the only car I recognise there other than I should not recognise any others. No. Yeah, anyway, let's move on to the next topic. So, yes, I've heard about the YouTube search engine thing, where they're changing it to AI. Whilst I'm not entirely satisfied with the DuckDuckGo search engine so far, at least it allows you to block results, but not enough of them in my opinion, because at the moment it's too small of an amount. I've already reached my limit because of how many shit sites there are. Okay, it's not helpful. but it's still better than Google in some ways and worse than others. For example, when I actually look up how to solve some issues, it does actually come up with more user-based content rather than articles. Although that's not always consistent, it just seems to be a 50-50. But the other thing is, at least it allows you to disable AI and shit. Because this is one of the most annoying things about Google, which made me swap. Because, they stopped allowing uBlock, so I couldn't even block the element of AI. And so I had to switch to DuckDuckGo, obviously, because that had it has AI, but it allows you to block it. But I suppose the other issue that needs to be mentioned here with the fact that it's all AI now is actually something I mentioned the moment it all started. Not sure if people remember, but I was warning everyone that the sooner this doesn't get regulated, the sooner it'll get out of hand. And what do you know? It got out of hand. I was shocked? No. Because this was pretty much going to happen anyway. Because people just sat down at home and said, "No, I'm not going to worry about this. It'll bottle over soon. There'll be a big fucking crash or whatever." I forgot what they even called it now. Just some AI crash thing. I can't remember what it's called now. It's gone on me. But basically, that was due to happen. But obviously, as we've seen, it hasn't exactly happened. So, yeah. But this is all a result of people not protesting, not going to people in politics to actually advocate for regulation so that they can block things like data centers and whatever it is, even just the creation of AI in their place. So, for example, a state in the US would be able to say, "No, you cannot, by law, be producing AI, and we'll seize your assets and repurpose them if you do." So that could be something they do. But because this didn't happen, we're here. This is happening. And ironically, people were saying before, I always have to bring this up because I'm yet to hear someone say, "You told me so." But I said it before. You say AI was inevitable, but I said it was preventable. And yet, you decided to side with the AI, and now you hate AI, which I even predicted as well. It's not something that people are going to like, because it just saturates everything, it just ruins everything, it oversimplifies things that weren't meant to be simplified. So, for example, gathering information, gathering elements like assets, or even just generative AI as well. But the reason why we have things take our time is because they take up our time. It's a good distraction from things, but when we're so pro-consumer, we start to consume these things en masse. So let's say the AI generated a great anime or something. Okay, they do one. Oh, well, the next day there's another. Gotta watch that, and the next day there's another, and the next day there's another. Basically, it happens non-stop, and you cannot stop that train. But if you get addicted to that, you're gonna have a job crawling yourself out of that. The same with this AI chatbot problem as well. There's so many fucking problems around it. But basically, this is where we're headed. And what do you know? It's here. I'm not shocked in the slightest. This is what people asked for. It's exactly what I've been saying since this all started. And I warned people what would be happening, even the things with Grok around being catered towards paedophiles and stuff. It is fucking crazy. But I can't really say that I have any sympathy for anyone experiencing bullshit with AI or the RAM prices, or even just, what's the other thing? I can't remember, but basically, this is the biggest I told you so that I think has ever happened in my life. I warned about it for ages, and the reason why I never stopped creating music and art, despite the fact that AI could do it sometimes better, it's for this reason. It's because AI is just fucking horrible. It's not good for our planet, and we evolve too quickly as well, so whenever there's technology, you can expect it to evolve extremely quick, which isn't always good for us because we have to adapt. We haven't even perfected computing technology, we haven't even perfected car technology, that we haven't done it. And that's the problem. And yet we're trying to pile this shit on top, which I already predicted years ago would be a disaster. And then people still told me, oh no, AI is inevitable. You're going to have to get used to it. Yeah, this is the AI that's inevitable now. I enjoy it, I guess. You know, it's not surprising. Again, I said stuff that should have been done years ago. People should have been literally protesting, and nobody did it, so that's where we are with this shit. Now it's almost a daily occurrence that AI is in my life because it's now reached parts of the internet that it really shouldn't have. It really shouldn't be able to anyway. Like, I've seen AI accounts on Blue Sky with like 500,000 followers and 500,000 following. Like, it just doesn't make sense. They literally are in this network together, and again, people said this was inevitable, but you know, even if you may not have acknowledged that part of it, where it could go horribly wrong, where you could get terminated, you could get bot accounts and stuff, even if you couldn't predict that, it was still bad from the other perspective. Remember when the DALL-E stuff came out and it was making complete abominations? It's like the first time we saw it, it's like 2022 I believe, maybe 21. But it was so bad, and it turns out the reason it was making that was because of a code issue. A coding error. Which makes sense, but also that's kind of scary because, you know, at that time it was probably more acceptable because it was just making shit. But now, it's making things that are realistic and you can't tell from other things. Like, what are we supposed to do now exactly? Again, other than these suggestions I made about taking direct action, I don't really know what else there is. Just fucking tiring. Again, I've warned about this for so long now, and yet every single time I mention it, being ignored. I've given the reasons why. And you can't really get any sources for it because you won't be able to find a source for what obviously the future will become. Like ChatGPT, we didn't know that would be a thing. Didn't even know things like I'm trying to figure out image generator. I can't even remember. I think I suppose that's one of the most untapped things. Sora. We couldn't have predicted Sora. But that's again because we don't know what they would be. We saw new AI generation would be a thing, but that's what it was. It was always a mystery, and that's what I warned about as well. We also don't even know how capable it is with other things. So weirdly enough, it reminds me of that Futurama episode. I can't remember if it was a recent one or not. I think they built an AI who can help deliver things. It was like Amazon or something. So they built an AI for that, and essentially it rewrote the universe, which is fucking terrifying. Although enough, probably would age well. But anyway, yeah, I ain't really got much else to say. As I said, I've warned about this. People don't listen. And for those who didn't listen, go fuck yourselves. Either shit you allow it to happen. I don't really know how to word it. Me not good with words, but me better than AI. So, I'll see with me sort of saying I'm not interested in politics today, to be honest. It's just, I'm waiting for something good to happen. And that's the biggest thing for me. But I have to mention this other thing that I realised, and it's something that is really big and could potentially even change politics forever, from my understanding of it, because this is a big problem, and this is something everyone has to agree on, whether they like it or not, because it's the actual truth. So, what I realised is, why the fuck are we putting people in power who do not have a clue about what they're talking about and what they're doing? So, yeah, when it comes to war crimes and stuff, well, obviously we need to be talking about things around that, but mainly things surrounding science and surrounding mental health and stuff, like everything around it. Because war crimes in itself are just inherently wrong, no matter who it's against. It doesn't really warrant a response, even if it is like that sort of thing where it's like, oh, one person initiates it, but also the one who initiates it deserves the same thing, but do they? But the thing I realise is we also have to look at the impact of this. So, for example, is it good on the climate? Is it good on everything else? So there's like other things to look at other than the horrific aspect of, ethics. But along with that comes the question of, do people actually make sense of the facts? Because apparently in Israel they're planning to redo something in Parliament, I think I read. It's something like, what is it? It's like 120 people to vote whether to reform Parliament or something and get Netanyahu out, supposedly. Which frankly is good news, but it's concerning because in another way, do we also know this is going to be the safest option as well? So like, how do you deal with the problem of Israel society where there is a lot of Islamophobia and even just, religious phobias? I don't even know what to call it. They just go against any religion except obviously Judaism, and yeah, like, it's extremely fucking creepy. But then we have to look at a case like the US, where obviously there's more bullshit happening and probably more war crimes actually. And said that the war crimes being in their own fucking country. But where it's happening there is you see a lot of things around the climate, like climate denial, like trans school shootings for some reason, and like so many different things. Here's the thing that utterly dismantles all that: the truth. And unlike the truth that they've supposedly hijacked and keep hijacking when they believe a bigoted form of it, and think that whatever they pull out their arse is truth. The truth that I speak about is one where you actually get evidence. You actually can support your claim. So, for example, something like whatever it's called, I'm trying to think. I should have got distracted a bit. Something's just gone from my head now, but you need to claim it with evidence, and it's like a study, for example, so climate denial. You prove absolutely certain with study, and that will essentially be the proving of this. So that's how you prove that to be a thing. And obviously they need to be able to refute it themselves if they disagree with it. But if you can't even refute that, then the problem then becomes, and obviously this is down like the hierarchy of evidence as well, so you can't just refute it with an article, but it comes down to the hierarchy of evidence, and then it becomes a case where actually you cannot refute this shit now. You've actually lost the argument. So issue then becomes, now you can't actually push what you're pushing for with your climate denial. Because obviously they can't actually refute it. They actually lost the argument. So they've absolutely failed on that front. So again, it's like they don't have a point here. Again, it's completely failed. You can't deny the climate change. It's there. there's writing about it, and that, so your evidence is like, I pulled out my arse, pulled it from an article, rather than an actual study. So you're not even making sense of it. You haven't even got someone to present the information. Like, you haven't even got an expert to even simplify it for you, like read through it, simplify it. But no, it's not the case at all. Even then, like, the weight of it is important too. So say there's like one bad thing about the climate change studies out there. Like, oh, there's maybe a flaw in the methodology or something, but only one little flaw of the many that actually do work. Like, okay, yes, that's a flaw. But you look at the one that's climate denial and you see, oh, all its methodology is essentially wrong. So, obviously, weighing the evidence, the one with the most correct methodology is the one that obviously triumphs. And that's the thing. You need to make sense of the idea of that. You need to make sense that climate change is real by evidence, and the climate denial has little to no evidence supporting it. So, even then, that one flaw in the methodology can become a thing for the other study. In a way, so it's like a weird system where it kind of works in that way where it supports the other in a pinch, anyway. But that's the problem. So, I think, again, if you're in politics and you're again making those laws, making those ideas, or whatever the fuck it is at this point, who knows, you have a responsibility to prove these things as facts. You have the responsibility to prove everything you're saying, everything you're pushing, whatever it is. But if you cannot do that, you've simply failed. You've lost the argument. And so you have nothing to support you in that. As a result, again, just utter failure. So it's like a real fucking shame as well, because people get into these positions, can be well-meaning, but they also don't support the evidence. So again, it's a massive fucking failure. But I guess this is the thing that I'm talking about with when it comes to this being a big change of politics, because whilst people have tried to simplify things, admittedly too much so in some cases, especially with AI, I think this can actually override a lot of things. So it can be put into like a constitution thing, like the US has, but for the world in that sense. So it's actually more based around what's actually best for people rather than what's best for a given like population or minority. Like, hell, it's even sort of saying, and this sort of reminded me of this topic actually, which is a really sad story I watched on FFXIV. It's like some mother who's gone through a traumatic life and ended up with a child in the end, which is a positive for her. But it makes me wonder as well, because I hear sometimes that children of these parents are sometimes not so lucky. They legitimately suffer as a result of their conditions and stuff, and even their appearance. And it makes me wonder, is that actually endangering a child? But then we have to look at it through the perspective of, like, what's the cause of this? Why are people like this? Say you survey people and ask them, like random people on the street, what do you think of this person? Show a picture of a burn victim and a genetic, obviously, thing like this, like EB in this video. And you gather responses, make a study out of it, and you learn that based on like reflecting it from other bits of psychology, and also referring to a psychologist too, that's important. And maybe even like sociologist if I've not got that wrong. I don't know, is a sociologist a societal based thing? I don't know. I'm assuming it is, but that's what I mean with that. But you do all this study and you find out actually the parenting aspect of this is actually fine. So regardless of whether someone has a condition like this or not, the problem is other parents. And so you find out through another study that then refutes this, that says parents of children who bully consistently, obviously children bullies, are not often good parents, and so you have to address it via that method instead. So there's a causal effect here rather than an actual case to be made against parents with obviously conditions like this, like EB or whatever it is, even autism for example. So I've been through it myself. But it can often be a knock-on effect of something else, and so that study replaces the other one and becomes a bigger focus and becomes a part of the law, essentially. So that person, whoever it is actually, basically the parent with disability is fine. It's just the people around them are the actual problem, and this is provable. And it is actually provable today, to be honest, just observing alone. Because you see it where hatred takes priority and even scaremongering. That obviously doesn't help situations at all. It makes things a lot worse for everyone. And it can be quite damaging too. So obviously that's pretty important. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You need to make sense of these things. If you're a governing body, if you're not making sense of these things that are being presented to you, you don't fucking deserve your position. Get the fuck out before someone pulls you out. If someone disposes of you. Like, come the fuck on. It's ridiculous. I literally cannot fathom why anyone would want to be in that position. They just become complete idiots about these things and absolutely ruin their reputation, their lives, whatever it is. Just fucking absurd. I genuinely don't understand it. So, yeah, I don't really know what to add here, to be honest, because honestly, this is a pretty irrefutable fact. I mean, it's just a thing that has to be acknowledged, and you're not going to succeed by brute forcing things like we currently do. We've actually seen the detriment of that. So again, like school shootings and stuff in the US, for example, it's not a problem of what do you know it, the minorities. It's not trans people, it's not gay people, there's nobody like that. Or even people of a different race or religion. It's actually the fact there are guns, so that's the problem rooting it all. So guns are the reason why it happens. That's why people get fucked. And it's a bit hard to even tackle law on that, because I think you just have to go down the list of that sort of thing. So you go like, okay, we're not allowing you to have hunting rifles, we're not allowing you to have these sort of things. And then they go, okay, we're not allowing you to have, obviously machine guns should be banned anyway, but speaking of single shots, like not allowing you to have certain rounds, and certain types of weapons like pistols, like it goes down the list, and eventually the only thing that can be advised, and you could probably trade it in for even, is probably like a milder form of pepper spray, for example, because I think pepper spray is fucking awful. I don't know if anyone else feels the same about that. I think it's good in very life-threatening situations, but it's not good in the general situations where people can misuse it. So say someone's scalping Pokemon cards, pepper spray. Okay. But you might as well do the old Dale Gribble thing, like pocket sand or something. Or pocket dirt, I can't remember what it's fucking called now. Let me look up hill. Pocket dirt. Pocket sand, yeah, it was. It's fucking genius. But yeah, that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. Teach people actual self-defense in those situations. Yeah, in the UK, the worst thing that can happen to us is knife crime. Also, it's quite baffling. It's actually bizarre. And that's, again, the point with evidence. It actually shows that you can't really have gun crime here because you don't really have guns, exactly. Like, not really much you can do either way. But it's better to be hit with a knife, I suppose, rather than a fucking gun. Life will be more painful, unfortunately, but I think that's a trade-off. Like, risk having a life taken, or risk having it taken with like this. Like, I don't know how to word it exactly. That's what I mean with the evidence thing. If you can't make sense of it, you don't deserve the position. You don't even deserve the say for it. That's my biggest point. And it sort of ties into that thing where, when I got into politics before, literally the first thing I said that I wanted to see in a political leader was someone who had a board of people, of experts, to actually look into these things, look into studies, and then give me advice on how to shape the laws, how to cater them, so that it can work for people. And it's sort of similar to this thing I saw on Blue Sky, actually. I just saw it recently, about reform and how they were, what was it? It's like the Independent thing reported on and said that the way that reform are doing things is essentially based on misinformation. What was it? Hang on, I could check again. Net migration to the UK fell lowest point since COVID, but half of Britain still think it's rising. Yeah. Exactly what reform intended to do, essentially. They want people to believe it's rising, but it's actually not. I sort of suspected it wasn't rising because of the fact that you don't actually see it happen. You know, if it was actually happening, where are the fucking TikToks? I just genuinely do not understand it. There aren't any fucking videos of people arriving on boats, so what's the deal? There's literally none, and the only ones you can find are like niche situations. Of course, I'm not expecting people to go there with like a fucking trail cam, like, oh, here you see the wild Frenchie, or whoever it is, Armenia, you never know. It could be anyone. But there's nothing like that. We don't have a fucking trail cam for boats. As weird as that sounds. But there isn't evidence of it. Like, physically, or even just through study. Even just through sources, like, again, the asylums, like asylum, what do you call them? Asylum takers? I don't know what you call them. But you know, they're seeking people to have in the asylum hotels or accommodation, and you get the number from them and how many arrived through boat, and it's like, oh, okay, there's only like 10, but this week I was like, just like a minuscule amount. And yeah, it shows that their numbers are fucking lied, obviously. The thing with the board of people who can actually understand this, like someone who studies migration, they're going to be able to tell you whether or not there are people arriving on boats every day. And I guarantee you it's probably not. Because there's only 2 places of the UK where that can happen, maybe more including Ireland. And for that to happen, obviously, you know, you need someone to study it, you need to get everything you can on this. Then that evidence shows us actually migration is not the problem. It's not people coming on boats. Hell, it's not even people coming on planes, moving country. You know, the migration, whoever it is, I don't know what you call it actually, migration lead, it's like, they'll come back and say that our financial problems are not actually to do with migrants, it's to do with the lack of a wealth tax. Like, oh, okay. And you know, I go to the person who's like an expert in economy to reflect that, and they can reflect the same thing, because I'm pretty sure they've talked about it, but you know, you get the response from them, like how to deal with these problems. And also has to be someone who's like anti-corruption as well, because obviously you need someone to keep that up, obviously, with like investigating corruption. You need like an anti-corruption expert, ironically. But people need to be aware of that as well. This is exactly what I said from the start. Just need experts on these things, people with good intention, with the idea to keep things, you know, sane and get it from intelligent people. I don't really know how to word it. You literally need experts on this, because so far it's been run by idiots. Everything in the world has. Putin is a complete moron. Trump is a complete moron. Netanyahu is a complete moron. Keir Starmer still kind of a moron. Even though there's been slight improvements, but still a moron. you know, all these people just fuck over the country, fucking over the world, and that's because they just don't understand what they're talking about. And the weird thing is you got, just like Trump saying he's intelligent, you got people like, what did Netanyahu say? He said really dumb things about the internet before when people would criticise him and make fun of him. Tough shit. But also, it's also like, what they put into as well, it's stupid. Also, he like overthrew another government through an assassination, I think. Just white Russia's in the bad state it's in, and then also created an autocracy or a dictatorship. I can't remember what it is now. Did something anyway. But then the UK, obviously, different example. But Keir Starmer has shown complete incompetence when it comes to tackling the cost of living crisis. So, yeah, again, they seem to like overestimate how good they are. And also, Keir Starmer keeps saying that he's going to be the one to fix Britain or something, and he's fucking not doing that. It's not there. Again, I'm tired of this shit. This is why I stopped caring. It's why I don't want to care anymore. Because there just isn't anything. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I don't know. Anyway, I got much else to say, so I'll move on. So, whilst Final Fantasy XIV has technically acknowledged that they are needing to change, obviously, with time, and the fact that the game is becoming so grindy is itself an issue. Maybe they haven't the last part, but it's sort of implied. But there are so many problems with things that I'm just researching, because I'm going through my mount list, deciding which I'll do and which I won't. Also doing like other things, like whenever it's there, like minions for example. I'll probably do it at the same time as other things, and also collectibles. But I just went through one about PvP. And this is a event called the Gara event, I believe. Yeah, for some reason I've still got it open, so that doesn't say. The right thing, it says the Rygo. Well, doesn't say. But for some reason the tutorial is still there. But I don't know if it's even obtainable still, so say I want the Rygo mount. Apparently you need to be victorious in a combination of 60 front lines or rival wings or feast/crystalline conflicts, while using a title received from disreputable priest. How do you do that? You do it by equipping gear. And you have to do that by spending your wolf marks. Luckily they're not too expensive, but still. What the fuck? Just why? It's unnecessarily grindy. And so if I'm not mistaken, aren't like rival wings and all the other ones similar to front lines? Rival wings, frontier combatants, yeah, so similar. What's the feast? I don't remember the feast. 8 on 8 or 4 on 4, okay. It's not that bad, but it's probably gone now. And then crystalline conflict, this one's familiar. What? How do you see how many players there are? I guess it's just 5v5 though, because I do recognise this. But, you know, this in itself is a grind, so each PvP match could take up to 10 minutes, and obviously you do that over 60 times, it takes 600 minutes. 600 minutes, I think is it 8 hours? No, it's probably more actually. Wait, where is it? I'll just do quick math. No, wait, 4. I should think it's about 50. What am I thinking? I don't know. But you have to win, that's the problem. It's not a participation thing, it's a win. So immediately, half the player base is fucking exempt from this, because how are you supposed to get that? It's a bit fucking stupid in my opinion. There's no other way to get it, so again, it's really stupid. But then I'm looking at the Fork Tower mount again, and I've seen people say, oh, it's really difficult, and you know, they said that about Baldesion Arsenal, but it wasn't. Admittedly, we had a pretty good community, obviously, Recon Academy, I believe it is, who hosts the events for that. But my fucking god, Fog Tower, it looks miserable. It's because it's not just the fucking instance itself, it's the build up to it, it's getting through to it, like the quest, and no one the quest requires you to complete a very specific critical encounter, I believe, a shark one. Yeah, I think it's a critical encounter. It's already really bad from that perspective. I just cannot comprehend it. So it's just not fun, really. It's really badly designed. I'm trying to look at a guy who's like done it for, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes to it. So just doesn't seem well designed at all either, because the guides are here, you got individual videos here. What boss 1, Demon Tablet, boss 4, Makitar, boss 3, Marble Dragon, so it's boss 2, so it's on the right side. But it's like, these are 10-minute plus guides, up to 21 minutes. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't have the time for this, and I don't want to learn it, because I can't learn that quickly. Doesn't exist. So frankly, it's just incredibly stupid. I just cannot understand the logic, and then apparently, I don't know if it's a Steeler thing, but on release it was even more controversial because, as it turns out, and this is normal difficulty by the way, not Savage, so there's a Savage mode, but you consumed an item to get here, which costs you, I think, 600 silver coins, or was it 980? I can't remember. But it's just shit design. Also, why are half the video results are false? What the fuck? Sure. Also, is that Jesse Cross? Yeah, it is. But it's probably not Fog Tower, is it? And as I said, it's like, it's not worth time investment, and then this made me realise, like, time investment? Why should I bother? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, there's no guarantee I'm going to complete it. It's grindy as fuck. So what's the point? I literally reduced my list from a fair few to now this, essentially. Not the full time, I mean, like, oh, you can't see it. I mean, you did. Oh, but I need to look into this one, like, how do you get Silky? Let's look at Silky, that's a bit of chicken. I've actually met a Silky, funny fact. The weird story. Let's see, so, Sildon Pot Shard, need 2 of them, so, how do you get that then? Locations, wait, loot? Oh, that's where it drops, so it's not the fucking mount, for fuck's sake. Say, Big Deep, Sildon, obtain 10 points, unlock all survey records in the Sildon, obtain, how do you do that then? So, how grindy is this going to be, is my question, because fuck me if it is. I just don't have the time for this. It's dumb, I want to play other games. The Big Deep, Sildon is an achievement, okay, thanks. It's not helpful. It's not even an item, so why is it there? Sessions obtain, so records, objectives. It says all 10, but I see 12. So what the fuck is it on about? So already it is like mystery, because there's nothing here. You don't actually know what the fuck it's on about. And there's another Sildon, obtain, whatever it is. Like, how the fuck do you even unlock this? I cannot figure it out. There's nothing here on the wiki. So let's just look up all the survey records then. So what's this say? Just cut off the wiki again, which isn't helpful. The party may unlock up to 1 entry in the server. Okay. So it's just this, I guess, the objectives, quote unquote. And there is a guide, which is good. So it doesn't seem too difficult to do, I guess, unless there's a challenge to it. But also, this does seem like a grind, in all honesty. Because the problem is, my biggest problem with the variant dungeons, or whatever you call them, is how long it takes. And how long it takes is extremely fucking annoying. Especially the recent ones. They take up to, what, 40 minutes, I guess? Or 30 minutes. But the bosses have so much fucking HP. And I remember doing the one with Silky, and that didn't take as long, I don't think, but still. It's bad. I just can't understand it. But also, it's to unlock all survey records, so how much of it is RNG? Well, let's go through it then, shall I? Path, left, right. Middle. So what's the randomness chances? Is there anything? Doing control left random, but nothing there, which is good. But, you know, this still feels tedious to me, because again, how long is it going to take? You know, if I do these paths, what then? And also, what if I fuck up something as well? There's always a big worry of mine. So yeah, whilst this is doable, credit where it's due, it's not the most optimal, in my opinion. Yeah, I've still got other melts to look towards, so even something like Pinky, which I could do by doing Dawn Trail Fates for the gemstone vouchers. And then we remove that Cold Crescent one. Bye. But you know, it's just incredibly frustrating. And then I've still got the Faux Hollers ones. It's actually a new amount, I forgot about that. Now, what is it called? I had it open a minute ago. I've also removed ones like the Ornamental Shrublet, because it's basically a chance to get the mount from a fucking bag from doing a fucking deep dungeon. I just don't know what you're thinking. You're saying you want change, but you're not changing these. It makes no sense. No logic went into this again. And I know I've got controversial takes when it comes to this game. Probably the most controversial takes, but that's because I'm someone who doesn't have much time on my hands. Compared to the average person, where you're lucky enough to not have the issues I have. IBD and Crohn's disease and asthma. I believe in all I can take time on my day because I'm just sitting there panicking. So what the fuck do I do? And I've just taken an inhaler and it's like, oh, okay, so it helps. But again, everything just comes back around. I also have autism, I also have depression, which can lead me to feel suicidal. There's just so many issues. I don't even have the time for the extreme trials to get the mounts and the totems, because why the fuck should I bother? It's just too much. The mechanics are hard to learn. What else do I say? When we ripe and they start saying, Mr. Raider, you're just really shit. We're gonna have to kick you. Like, oh, great, thanks, I suppose. Like, real helpful. Because I can't control that. I don't think anybody can, from what I understand. So, why bother? Genuinely, what's the fucking point? I cannot understand the logic here, at all. It's just such a fucking atrocity. I'm trying to think, what else is there? I can't think. But you know, that's the thing, and also to an extent even with the against transport kids screaming, I just haven't got much time on my hands. That's all this comes down to. Different situations and different problems, yeah. It's always going to be a problem, I think. So what's this mount from the Island Sanctuary? 100,000 seafarers crownies. For a neat bike, I suppose. Okay. That's a thing. You know, my mount collection, even though I'm not a collector myself, I still look at mounts that I'd like to have and probably enjoy having. And that's what I base it on. But some of them, even like the Demon Hole, whatever you call it at this point, even though I want that, it's not possible to get. And there's too much at stake with that. So there's just no point. The amounts that I would want are just not obtainable. I'm more likely, as I should correct myself here, it's more like it's not viable. It just simply isn't a way, from what I can see. And even if you're able to buy these mounts, how much is it going to cost you? Because that's the question. Because I think some people would rather go through the pain of like fate farming, going for the gemstone vouchers and selling them, rather than do all this shit. Because that's what people feel like. It's what they feel is necessary there. Because that's the only way you can probably enjoy the game. Not be burnt out with it and get on with it, essentially. But yeah, I guess just so much disappointment. Again, as I said, I have like half the mounts in the game, and I have like 49%, which is insane. There's more mounts to come out as patches come. Yeah, it's still going to be an age-old complaint. You know, today I actually finished my hobbies early, somehow, even though I got delayed as well. But it just shows how much variant there is in terms of what time I have and what time I don't have. As I said, the Xondrin XP is probably going to be the next mount, to be honest. There's a 600 photo holo leaves. I hate photo holos. It's still bad. I hate the entire fucking thing. Even then, I've got things I could do in between, like questing in the Shroud or Corvus, like complete all the quests I haven't done before. Basically every grey quest in every area. Which you might think, oh, what's the point? It's a waste of time. There's a story to it, and it's good reading as well, especially before bed. It's fun. That did actually help me. I did that. And I've also skipped some laws and stuff, which I've written down. So I skipped entire Eureka, Bosger, and Geralt law. Yeah, I say Geralt because I never paid attention to the grammar. You know, I've got every location listed here to do the grey quest and the blue quest that I've missed. And yet I'm only on Fangland. And yet I've got all these other things to do. I quite look forward to the inflatable Morcroft even. That's probably going to be one of my favourite mounts. Looks pretty funny, but yeah, it's good to have that. I don't know what to add really. It's just utter shite really. Like, I can't comprehend the design choices here. Again, this is why controversial. It's because I don't agree with these design choices and I just want to move on to other games. Like, I want to play, I've got here, Elcon, Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, the Untropy Center. I want to try Final Fantasy VII at some point because that's apparently the best game. I want to try Coney Island, Earthlock Adventure, Miko and the Witch's Mountain, Portal Stories Mill, the Talos Principle. I'm going to remove this section. How do I do a remove collection? Party games, I don't play them anymore. Now I've got East games to do. The bloody East games, which have amazing soundtracks. So I've still got to go through them. I've got Postal games, got Persona 4, might try. Hades, which I'm a bit unsure about because it is a fucking roguelike. So I'm a bit skeptical, but it's just to wait and see. So I've got to open the game now. Final Fantasy, only got a bit of time. I'll do one run of the thing to do a survey. But yeah. As I said, it's just disappointment all around with this sort of thing. So I've got a way the wind blows thing open. I don't even do gold saucer gates anymore. Yeah. I don't know what else to add here, but yeah, that's about it, I think, for this topic, yeah. So, grinding is not fun. I'll probably play other games. Anyway, let's move on. I can't remember how I forgot to talk about this. It's about Pokemon. It's about a video I saw. Oh, how long was it ago now? What's that beeping noise? weird. But it was about how Pokemon reversed Dexit and then literally brought it back with the release of Legends EA. Oh boy. It has to be said that I couldn't have really seen that coming exactly. Because the problem with Dexit, I remember this back when this was Pokemon Sword and Shield, and that was the core game at the time. But I sound old now. The amount of things that just feel so, like, I feel like yesterday still, but also not. I remember all the backlash, and the game was controversial, nevertheless. But Dexit was arguably one of the worst things about it, because it had reversed generations of Pokemon, essentially. It removed generations of it by having a very inferior game compared to something like Sun and Moon, which I'm almost like 90% certain that it had almost every Pokemon in it. Like, literally. It's actually kind of insane. But as it turns out, with the release of, I think, Legends Arceus, and even later on, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and then Scarlet Violet, they were actually slowly, and even DLC, I forgot to mention that, they were reversing Dexit. Because they were able to store the Pokemon data on the other games, which also, I guess, is good, because it means that it just loads from there instead, which is also kind of clever. Although it does bring into question about, say, like how you put them in the game without the necessary data, but I don't know. Like, for example, if you play Scarlet Violet, how the hell do you get, well, maybe that game only, but how do you get, what's the name? Like Zygarde or something in that? Because you must have had to have the other game. I don't know how it'd work any other way. But even Legends ZA now, where apparently they started to reverse it, it doesn't look great from that perspective, but it's just bizarre. Because if they had told us back then, if they had future plans to add more Pokemon, but over the course of like other games and stuff, I would have been like, you know what, that's kind of understandable. It's going to take time, but it's kind of understandable from that perspective. And it turns out they're just doing this shit. Like, they could have just said, and people would have been pretty okay with it, I think. Other than the fact you have to wait. It's like, what a major disappointment, the fact that it took all this time to do that and then start to reverse it with Legends EA for some reason, even though Legends EA has just Pokemon data and it's not even necessarily, entirely different thing. The same video I saw talking about, I'm pretty sure they said, even though it's got different gameplay style to the rest of Pokemon, it's not supposed to lock your Pokemon in because it's using the same sort of data as the average Pokemon. So you've got a string of code there which gives moves and the ID, but supposedly Legends EA uses the same one. So as to why that's a thing, I don't know. But yeah, it's just not amazing in all honesty. It's not good design choice there, and it does make me a bit sceptical about getting Legends EA. Even though it could be a great time sink, again for getting me on the treadmill, as is a Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl at the moment. Speaking of which, I could update people on that, because I've got some notes again. I've managed to progress past... Wait, I'm still on the first gym. Oh, for fuck's sake. I thought I got past the second, but there wasn't one. I was thinking like, quite a bit of time has passed now since the first gym, what's going on? Still travelling. Yeah, I basically changed my team up a bit though. Also I'll explain it actually, that I've got some extra notes, and I'll probably say these on the review as well. But I commented on the chibi style. I think it's probably a bit better over the usual 3D, but I wish they kept the chibi for even the poses and stuff, because it would have been funny and cute. No, they kind of fucked it in that sense. So I haven't tested it yet, but can you have a Pokemon follow you? That'd be neat. But anyway, just to look at the battle and the visual upgrades, yeah. It's like there's no Pokemon in the overworld thingy. Oh, so there isn't. I already noticed that, bit silly. Yeah, they could have placed Pokemon in the overworld. Well, actually, they did. Not in the overworld, actually. It's more like, or did they? Hang on, I'm not 100% sure. I think they do in like the houses, but that's it. Anyway, I found there are some dislikes as well. I hate the lack of free movement. Yeah, but it's not grid based, which is really unusual for this because it makes it hard to interact with stuff. It's pretty awkward. So yeah, I just don't know what the idea with that is. It's just so weird. It just doesn't make sense. Like, what the hell's going on there? And then I like the quality of life of showing the objective on the map. What was that about again? I can't remember why I wrote that. Because I know you can open the menu. Also, I found out how to use a pokecatch. It's just a plus bar, and I also know how to assign buttons or like that. I'll write that actually. Assigning items to buttons is good. The berry system might be okay. Write that. Berry system is okay. Yeah, you could grow it. I didn't realise you have to water it though. That confused me. I was like, okay, I'll just leave it, and then did it the second time around. Accidentally interacted with it again. It says, "Oh, do you want to water?" Oh, well, those two berries I planted earlier are probably dead. So no. I said they water these ones. What's the other thing? I don't know, but I found a free Jirachi. Yeah, Jirachi. In that place, that flower village, I can't remember the name of it now. But I found that very interesting, so I took the Jirachi, obviously, because it's like my favourite type, which is Steel and Psychic. Although I would like to replace it, probably at some point. I don't know how strong mythical Pokemon are. Let me look at the stats. Jirachi Pokemon. Is that old time also? Oh, that's a familiar image on Splash. This is from Porco Rosso. I remember this place. Is it? Not view of Jalamal Palace, Japia in India. Oh, maybe not. Bloody similar though. I swear I've seen a place like this before. That's fascinating. Really cool that it's on the water and kind of submerged, is it? It's a bit worrying. Where are we? Pokemon Jirachi, Dex, Space Stats. 100, 100, 100? Is that right? It's a base stat of 600, but it's just balanced in everything. I suppose except for the, what is it? Nature stuff? Let me see. Abilities, FFXIV, Cycles, nope. EV yield, VHP, what? How do I even discover this? I don't know. But it seems pretty strong. So that typing is also pretty OP because it means the only weaknesses are fire, grass. What is grass? What? Does it mean weak to... I'm confused as fuck. I'm reading it wrong, it's Ghost. I didn't realise it's the second thing, it's weird layout. Weak to ground, weak to dock, yeah. But yeah, I'll probably keep it, actually, since it's strong enough. I'm just wondering what moves it has. What are the other moves then? There it is, can't find it. Not much by level up, which is a bit bad. Sorry. Some strong ones though. But TM is a fair few, yeah. The only thing about DB is you can sort it by type, which is great. His flash cannon would be pretty OP if there isn't a pistol. See that being extremely strong just because, you know, it's a stab move, obviously. Do a fairy tie move on there as well. I'll definitely start to deal with a fucking thingy-majiggy card chomp. I had nightmares about card chomp. But also the fact it's a bounce stat means that, you know, do anything. That probably works. So that's all leads into the next thing, which is I captured a Boysen. But I named the Boysen Tails. And weird fact, I didn't even know the tail spun when I got him. Rather, that's just she. But I applied the move rock throw because it's a TM. So I thought, you know what, I need a rock move because I don't really have any good ones other than what I had on Bidoof. Speaking of which, I need to put a rock smash on someone at some point, but only when I need it. Because I put that on Bidoof. But interestingly, the tail spin when you use rock throw, which is really interesting. I don't realise that, and also my team for some reason at the moment has some really weird stat balance in terms of attackers and stuff. Like everyone can do both attack and special attack. It's just very unusual. And I'm utilising like the stab attacks as well, so when there's just an effective move, I've obviously learned this because I didn't know this before. You know, if it's just an effective attack, I'll just stab. It just does bit more damage or close to super effective damage. I haven't really struggled with any battles so far, I don't think. I'm trying to think, it's the hardest one. Probably this new zone actually I'm in. So after the team battle, plasma battles and going through the wind farms, and then you go into a forest after that. Also, after talking to a guy, you meet someone who wants to join up with you to get out the forest, I think, and will use a chansey to help double battle with you. Oh god. I already see the problems with this, and I just don't like that. She should use heal more often, but mine doesn't seem to. So I can't control that shit. This is the worst cost I've ever had, actually. It's just happening non-stop for the past 2 hours, but anyway. Yeah, but she's annoying. She already killed a Butterfree I was about to capture, who broke free with a Pokeball right before an attack. Great. I wasn't even trying to get it lower, just hit it once with a weak move and sort of rip. There was also a Seal Coon, which I couldn't capture, but I managed to capture Wurmple. So yeah, I'm in this zone for a while, it seems. Not looking forward to it exactly. Also found the Mossy Stones, so if I and when I do get a Leafeon, I'd evolve it there. But I'm thinking Leafeon because, I don't know, I don't really use many evolutions, to be honest. Obviously in Pokemon Let's Go I probably used the first 3, and then I haven't really ever used Umbreon or Espeon, not because I dislike them, but because I don't really have the resources for that. Plus I need to make either get a Glaceon as well and Leafeon. I wonder if I could get both, but it's probably not worth it given obviously everything else. You know, I need to be a bit strong for what's his name, Goldshop. So I don't know. I'm debating whether I want Leafeon or Glaceon. Also, what types are they and what moves take it? So Leafeon, Glaceon, Glaceon. So Leafeon is high in defense, Jesus. High in attack, so that may be not great. And then Glaceon high in special attack and defense for some reason. And special defense. So I think Glaceon might be for me then. Might be the Gold Chomp killer. Use Ice Stone, level up near Ice Rock. Yeah. And what moves are we looking at though? Not the best moves, especially Blizzard, which seems like a double-edged sword. I'd rather use Ice Beam because of the stab. What else? Also, is it? Let me double check. Is that? Yeah, special attack at first, and not physical. So ice beam if that's an option. Oh, it does on ice beam. Everything. I thought it was a TM only. What? Shadow wall. Yep, that's good. If I could get that. Giving water. Don't know how useful that would be. Disarming voice on the other hand might be good. It's just an alternative. Well, surprisingly, there's not much of a moveset, to be honest. It's kind of hard to build for. Is there any good normal ones then? Or can just be good in a pinch. Swift, but that's about it. I believe body slam. Body slam on Glaceon. How much does Glaceon even weigh? 25 kilograms. What the fuck? I could just about lift that in one arm. That's not light by any means. Oh, what the fuck? How heavy is Flareon then? 25 as well. Wait, is it all 25? It's 26. What the fuck? What are these weights? They're probably on 29. No wonder they like. I mean, what? Sylveon 23. Jesus, it's so fucking bizarre. A body slam probably wouldn't do anything. I'm assuming there's body slam that does damage based on weight. No, it isn't. Okay, maybe that can be useful. I don't know. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that Pokemon Dexit situation. Obviously, I just find it interesting in a way. It's not the most interesting thing, but it's obviously just cool because just wish I knew. That's basically it. I wish you could have said that. I told you so. I don't know. Anyway, I've got to stop embarrassing myself. So let's move on. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs. Actually, I fucking hate SpaghettiOs. But this game is a sort of shock, but also not really surprising in a way. So Valve just made a controversy. Yeah, after having so many wins, of course, is bound to have a fucking loss. So according to Games Radar, with a straight face, Valve insists Counter-Strike 2 cases are fine and people enjoy surprises in move to dismiss New York lawsuit. Yikes. So let's, rather than read the article, read the quotes. So New York slapped the Steam company of a lawsuit in February demanding full restitution for players and saying Valve loot boxes pose the same dangers as casino gambling, especially for children. First problem with that. There aren't really any Valve games for children, exactly, except for Dota, which is like 12 plus, but 15 is at the point I'd stop considering someone a child because of just simply how the mind works. I know when I was a child, I was like 15, I wanted to lose my virginity and stuff, and also just play violent video games. So I was playing Saints Row when I was 14, I think, and GTA San Andreas when I was 10. So really, there are no games that are exactly not for children, but in that sense, there are topics that obviously aren't. But, you know, you can't avoid it. So kids are going to play it anyway, and I do understand it from that perspective. But it's also a parent's responsibility, and they could have maybe done a response about that, about warning parents about this. So maybe for a child's Steam account, they need a parent's phone number or something like that. So you get notifications about who they're chatting with, for example, so like an actual tracker or something. I don't know, I could be wrong. But something needs to be done about that. But also tracks their sort of chance of spending, and you can improve it or not. Even just link accounts, for example. So there's like a possibility, although that does leave an exploit with if 2 accounts are hacked, and obviously you just buy a random bunch, and then, yeah, but there are things to figure out with that anyway. So it's not the best thing to go into this with. So, yeah, obviously, as we know, Valve loot boxes are not very fun, especially TF2. a bit shit in TF2 and even in CSGO, or CS2 rather, I could call it CSGO, still crap. So there's another quote here. See, if New York considers its case as gambling, then the same should be said for real-life collectible baseball cards, like booby figures, and more. So the company argues anyway. In quotes, each of those transactions, and many more like them, involves the purchase of randomized items that can be resold for cash. As well as rights, no co-op has allowed the executive branch to criminalise overnight such a breathtaking of commonplace conduct not specifically prescribed by the statute. This court should not be first. I'm not exactly sure what they're saying here, to be honest. It sounds like they're trying to make a case for this being just a load of bullshit. Which it's not. In all honesty, I've actually been pretty against Valve's idea of gambling here. It's always been a sore spot for me because I just don't like it. It feels shitty. Like what? So that's the next thing. Valve doubles down on the argument saying people enjoy surprises. Uh-oh. Yep, this is very reminiscent of the EA case where they said it's like surprise mechanics essentially. It's like you're gonna Kinder Egg, which by the way I got as a kid a few times and hated it. It's literally awful stuff. It's fucking bad. You don't get anything in them anyway. Like you just bite down the chocolate like a piece of plastic in my fucking food. Daddy, what does this do? You have to open it. Open what? What the fuck am I opening? It's a chocolate. So I don't get it. But also, the other thing with that, I've got to say, I'm surprised nobody really mentioned it, but you get the thing with like Kinder packaging, which I remember very distinctly as a kid is quite vibrant. It's like a white background with, I think, some fluffy images around it and colourful text, which is 100% appealing to children. So, yeah, like this is bad. It's really bad. So, what was shit response on that? So, to say surprise mechanics, literally here. Why? Like, if you actually played these games on a wage that everyone else was, you'd realise the problem. And this is often the point I have to bring up with game testing and, you know, QA testing and stuff. If you're not playing it as a player, you're not actually playing the game. Now, I'm someone with a card that was around 4 years ago, and it was being scalped. And I got this card through I don't know what you call it actually, I can't remember the name, but someone who builds PCs who gets cards from directly. So it's no scalper situation, but it's still a high price either way. But for example, my computer specs are quite old by today's standards. They're 4 years behind. Believe it or not, it's quite the shift in performance. It's quite slow considering newer games, but that means games today are not exactly tested as if, you know, therefore my PC. For example, I probably wouldn't even be able to play Forza Horizon 6, which I possibly want to try at some point. Just impossible. But where this relates to finances, however, is in the game's entire system. So, if we're looking at, I don't know, let's say a game of Genshin Impact. Yes, a game that could be good, but the gambling completely fucks it over, and the same with Honkai Star Rail, same with Xenoblade Zero, same with anything else they're going to put out at this point. But it absolutely screws up the game because the gameplay becomes gamba rather than gameplay. And, you know, that really screws things up, but the only reason you need characters in that is so you can actually progress through the story reasonably well. You know, even if you're just focusing on that and also the exploration, but the exploration requires good characters too. The most obvious and blatant sign of this is probably, what's the name of it? Piracy? No, Natlan, that's it, Natlan. where the gimmick in that area is a specific gauge which only characters from that region can benefit from. However, there's quite a few speedy characters in that. There's like 3 or 4 by my count, and one of them's so good, Marika. You literally cannot skip her. She's like the most powerful character in the game. At least used to be when I was still playing. I stopped playing after 5.7 or 6. Oh fuck, what was said to me. I basically stopped after that, and so I don't know if anything's better. But you know, the gameplay becomes that, and then unlike the finance situation, even though you can speed it up and help in a way with, well, about, I think £25 per month, roughly, although it'd probably be like 22 because one of them's a 40-day thing, which is 42-day, which is a battle pass, and the other is a 30-day thing. So it does cost you in the end. But under normal financial situations, it's not exactly viable because the game requires you, rather wants you to get these characters to beat the game, to beat the end game content, to beat whatever it is, imaginary theatre, don't know what else they've added now, but that becomes the core gameplay element. Although it's different because it's obviously tied to character power, but this is an example where playing as a player on the same wage is probably more important than playing as a developer. I say probably important, but it actually is. So you can obviously see the issues there. So it's kind of shit. I sort of have this issue, to be honest, with, how was it? What do I? That's one of the things I was thinking of. I found like a strange way. Oh, actually, yeah. Final Fantasy XIV, for example, as you've probably seen, I'm a big player of that. For some reason, the extra retainers to do your like little ventures and stuff. For some reason, they're charged every 6 months, which is just fucking stupid. What the hell are you thinking? Doesn't make sense. Anyway, so I was just very disappointed with that. But the point is, you go into a game like TF2 and Counter-Strike, or even Overwatch, which used to have loot boxes. I think they re-added it, but also kind of fucked it up because they still have microtransactions. But you go into any of these games, and they're like, they've got so many transactions that you just get overwhelmed. And on top of that, TF2, Counter-Strike, whatever game it is, has the aspect where it's got an economy, which not many games have these days. It's actually quite rare. So the fact these games have an economy to trade things essentially is also just real shit. They said like, yeah, it's similar to collectibles like baseball cards and stuff, but this is the problem exactly. These things are problems. People have their accounts stolen, they have their accounts hacked, they have inactive accounts, they have stuff gathering dust there. And you know, it's probably the same as well for real life. But the difference is we're in a digital era. We're not in a fucking trading card game in real life. No such fucking thing. Where it's possible to obtain things in game, for some reason it's not. So yeah, let's just look at the rest of the things here. So, part of the appeal of many popular collectibles, baseball cards, cereal boxes, is the possibility of opening a sealed package and being surprised with a rare item. No legislation or court has ever deemed that act illegal gambling. Yeah, in a way I kind of agree with that, but it's not the same in this situation because I don't know if people are even selling that. I'm trying to think of an example, like McDonald's toys. You know, even though people will most likely be selling it, and it had its gimmick as well, obviously, it's for children, and also it was kind of a bad thing then. I don't think anyone's actually agreed with these things though. That's the thing, I don't see people saying, oh, I love these gambling mechanics, I love losing when I gamble. When did you ever see that? And then you also have to explain the fact that people get hooked on gambling via addiction because of systems like this. And then there's that appeal where people who win big start to think they could get away with more. So they start gambling for the rarer item and go further and further until, you know, they're either bankrupt or they're stupid rich. It's the same with like stock markets, for example. Just such a load of bullshit. So no, saying they're same as these is true, but it's also the same arguments levied against it. So no, it's just pretty pointless. But anyway, they continue. Chronicles of Valve are designed for entertainment and have subjective and aesthetic value to users. Banning them could inject uncertainty into hundreds of daily commercial transactions. Yeah, but honestly, I'd rather not have those. You know, it's 2026. People are in a fucking crisis with money and stuff. I guarantee you the people who can afford these items, the stupidly high prices, probably can't, probably rather don't have any issues in real life. So it's sort of a non-argument again, because you're trying to appeal to those players rather than the ones who are at the bottom, like myself, who can't even afford it. I'm lucky enough to get triple, maybe quads. I'll just say 3 extra zeros, but I'm lucky enough to get that amount onto my, let's say, payments each month from benefits. But most of it goes towards my mental health, and that includes even support. So then my number becomes 2 zeros then. And then that amount is barely enough to even scrape by for giving myself a treat. I don't even really have takeaways anymore because I can't afford it. It's very rare. I have it like maybe once a month or every 2 months. That's it. So it's just real shit. So yeah, not a good argument, because it's still the same arguments against it, and I don't care what happens to the economy. Nobody does. As far as I know, the only people who are going to care is the ones who try to profit off it, and these people are the problem, ironically. I always had issues with like Backpack.tf, for example, where they had artificial pricing for things. And, you know, I can't fault someone for following those, like Marketplace, which I did use before and is handy a minute. Used it a lot actually. But the prices are so artificial that they make no sense. I've had one of one items in the world before, and even with a good effect and a good hat, it doesn't even sell for the same amount as something from the same box which someone decided, oh yeah, this is worth that. It's fucking ridiculous. It's genuinely awful. It's just one of the worst things from Valve, really, is this fucking system. It doesn't make sense. So yeah. What's the next thing? Say the company continues its comparisons. Parents purchase packs of baseball cards for their children. Families go to Chuck E. Cheese for a chance to play. Cheese to play games of chance and exchange winning tickets for prizes. Can a child reach into a silver box and grab a surprise toy? The same thing as before. People still have issues with that. And parents are not taking their children there to fucking gamble. What the fuck are you on about? It's obviously to collect cards, and this is why people go to storefronts instead. Because they don't want to go through the pack opening. It's again like false gambling, and if in an ideal world, just to put it out there, we'd have an equal supply, or rather just a full deck of cards. Because I think the problem with collections and stuff, as we see them today, is again the pricing is artificial. I don't know, I've had rare things in my life. I don't know if I still have them. But they're probably worth a lot of money. But that's only because people decided it was worth a lot of money. So it's very artificial. But again, nobody likes fucking gambling in this. And nothing's going to be perfect, for sure. But again, it's still a problem, and you're also putting it on children as well, which is the issue here. But then the economy thing doesn't apply to these. Well, baseball cards it does, but the games, the winning tickets, that's not even gambling. The game's on chance, so yeah, I suppose it is gambling in a way, but still, doesn't really contribute to an economy, does it? I'm saying for even like grabbing a surprise toy because there's probably tons of it out there. Yeah, especially if they're like equally equally distributed? Yeah, distributed. So, let's look at, I don't know, let's say Powerpuff Girls cereal, and you get like a 1 in 3 chance to get one of the Powerpuff Girls. I don't know if they do that. I don't know if it even exists, but it's an idea. But you buy 3 packets of cereal, and you just get all of the blue ones. I can't remember her name. Their name is rather. But then, obviously, you'd want the other ones, so this is still a problem where gambling, even in a fair chance, is not fun. And even then, if you're in like a trade system, somehow trade this out, or trade it with other kids, it's not entirely possible. Some will play it, some won't. So it's not a good argument again. So what's next in this? The next cruise. So anything else aside of no reason to think it's illegal apparently. So no, not really anything else, but this is kind of the thing that just draws me away from Valve games, especially TF2, which I did thoroughly enjoy as a kid and still to an extent can enjoy. But the gambling shit is just so unjustifiable when you have a storefront, when you have an economy. How much fucking money do you want? Genuinely. Because the other thing with the economy is they have an infinite amount of keys. So when you buy keys, these are the trading currency for TF2 items, so I'm wondering. I think it's probably the same for CS, I don't know. Not into that one. But that's what happens. You trade keys for the items, and that gives you obviously value. That's how you decide the price and stuff. And the price of keys is so high because of the bots that exist. I remember when it used to be like 2.33 refined back in like 2010 or so, 2011. Ugh, those were the days. But it only required having a weekly drop, and then you had the fucking keys. I'm surprised I actually didn't manage that. I think it's because I was collecting the weapons though, because they're valuable to use. I remember when that was a thing, but then it's like, how do you even multiply it in this day and age? I don't even know how much it is now, but when I last checked, it was about, I think, 30 refined or something, so it's like times 10, times 12 the amount, which is insane, but only because of bots. And then they don't even address the bot situation where they gamble, where they have these systems where they put metal into the economy, they put guns into the economy, that obviously in-game guns, not real guns. And yeah, it's just a fucking mess, and this is the mess that Valve created. If anything, I would settle on something like getting rid of 2 systems and keeping 1. So, if we get rid of the economy, we can still have obviously trading and stuff, but get rid of the economy and get rid of microtransactions. You could keep the gambling, but you could get rid of the gambling maybe. Get rid of the store? No, that won't work actually. So actually there's a flaw in that. Unless I'm not thinking about it properly. But there has to be some way. Because this is why they're getting sued. There is a literal issue on our hands, and not to mention a crisis, a potential crisis for that matter. Again, these games appeal to children. There are tons of fucking children. I can tell you from my experience of playing these games, there are probably more children playing it than there are adults, and that's saying something. There's everything from CS2 to TF2. I'm trying to think what other Valve games are, I can't remember. But that's basically what happens. These games appeal to children for one reason or another, like CSGO is competitive, Team Fortress is just casual goofiness. And there's plenty of children playing it, and you don't realise. Yeah, these are the ones putting slurs in chat, or maybe even the decent kind of people. You don't know. But yeah, it's quite silly, really, this argument. Just many different ways to do the system here of transactions, and as I've suggested before, I could pay you some money to kit out my loadouts, like put a bit of money in each week or month rather, to get like a favoured unusual hat through the store without the need of keys, so basically buy it up front in a way. But I just don't want to deal with the gambling, I don't want to deal with the economy. I'm tired of it, and I think it's unnecessary. It's just terrible. And again, it's not the same as opening up fucking card packs. In fact, card packs are more generous, because they at least give you something in return for your losses. Same with Overwatch loot boxes, which gave you 4 items total, with a chance of rarer ones. So yeah, I hate this fucking argument. I ain't got much else to answer this, really. Yeah, it just tires me out. Just I'm fed up of hearing this. And coming from Valve, or well, companies. There are people in Valve, which is a good thing, but at the same time, this is just shit. But I'm curious as well what the employees could say, and what even other players can say and stuff. Because there's probably more than likely events where people have gambled life savings on the game and stuff, and you know that's backfires to hell. But you know, it's not good for Valve, because that means that they're guilty. They're the guilty party in this. You know, I'm going on to backpack.tf, and yeah, you gamble and you could get a chance of what's this? Green energy spotted helmet. I thought we already had one, but apparently there's a new one now. They keep doing this, they keep adding things, and then it creates more confusion for the economy and players. And they don't even try to repair issues of past, where there are items that are so rare that it just goes up in price non-stop. Strange Crits Creek, for example, what was the other one? Like, I can't remember what the other stupidly rare item was, but they're definitely out there. Like, look at this. It's a secret to everybody, unusual effect. Mining light. Listing 2,800 keys. The suggested value is 2,400 keys, and that translates to about like $5,200, I think. The way it says, but that does sound right, eh? 4,188. The keys all over that much, aren't they? Fuck off. They weren't that cheap before. But yeah, it's still very expensive. It's just really badly designed. I cannot comprehend this. Why? It's just like really dumb. That's why you don't have an economy. It just makes your game worse. I really miss like the days of Overwatch where you could just put on a skin and not really care. That's it, really. There isn't much to it, if anything. Yeah, I've pretty much spoken enough about this. Getting tired and fed up. So, yeah, let's move on to the next topic. So, I'm sort of watching a scary video at the moment. The foreign media looked at United Kingdom. There's basically a few things. I'll get this done quickly because I need to go soon. But there's so many worrying things about this already, and I'm just going to stop watching. I've seen enough, and it's not necessarily scary, but just extremely dumb. So I'll go through it, but it seems like people believe things that they don't understand. So someone's saying the country is run by a woke government, whatever that means, because nobody can actually define woke, weird enough. Nobody's actually succeeded in doing that in the history of humanity. And yet you have to see it proven. The goalposts, simply put. Just prove it. Define it. Define what woke is. Find examples. Done. But they can't. That's where it's the issue. And there's no agreement on it either. And then they say they need to to tell people to do their research, their own research, which is dumb. Most people have done their research, that's why they're arguing with you. And then there's Iranian refugees in this march, the United Kingdom. For some reason. How? It's just so bizarre. You're gonna get fucking kicked out because you're an Iranian refugee. They don't care who you are. They'll kick you out, refugee or not. So I don't understand that. And then apparently it's been revealed that the march was being funded by billionaires. So that explains a lot. They've got people marching with them, basically saying this regurgitated shit, simply paid for. That's why you have the mix of Iranian refugees as well. And what's so weird as well is they support Trump. So not only are they Iranian, but they support Trump. Am I missing something here? What is actually fucking going on? It's like they put another horse in the race, essentially, of this Rupert guy I've never even heard of until now. Literally heard nobody talk about him, ever. And somehow he's in this race. Like, what? What am I even witnessing here? At least it will cause a divide between the two, but I'm still sceptical. And likewise, I'm still worried about the future because it means whoever the fuck gets in, we're still screwed anyway because of just these immigration policies. And again, the reason people immigrate here illegally is because they don't have anywhere else to go. Why else would they come here? It takes basic logic to realise that. Until people can prove that that's wrong, that belief is wrong, I'm not convinced. There's just no such thing as illegal immigration because to me it's all the same. Same way people come here with a visa and a passport, as mentioned in the video, someone said that. You know, they're obviously in this situation for a reason. They could be homeless, they could have lost their homes and stuff. They could have been thrown out, they could have been exiled, you never fucking know. So again, they just have no clue what they're talking about in these marches. Weirdly enough, they're more coherent than the last one, but that's probably because they're paid off. They've got billionaires to fucking to pay them to do this work. It's just ridiculous. And like, weirdly enough, all these people as well, which I've noticed, not exactly unhealthy, and you know, some of them aren't even old, some of them pretty young. So it's obvious that something here really stinks. It's fucking rotten to the core, and it's obviously not a good sign. There was even that news as well where apparently 200 or so, was it 100? I think it was 100. Reform councillors resigned because they realised it wasn't getting what they wanted. So yeah, fair enough. Although again, could be because of Rupert guy, I don't know. Man, it's fucking ridiculous, and I just can't believe the state of this country. The fact that people actually believe this is the more baffling thing, because it's not about what you understand about them, it's the fact that you actually believe in it. I know people bring up something like the Green Party, which I believe in, but the difference is, it can actually be demonstrated by the Green Party. All their points can, rather than what Reform are doing, where they pull numbers out their arse and supposedly Restore here, which I'm assuming is doing the same thing as Reform. Again, it's all like pulled out their arse, and you believe them. So when I got that Reform letter about lowering the bills and stuff, I don't fucking believe that for a second. To stop migrants coming in and then export them or deport or whatever, it costs money. So I just don't know anymore. But you know, whatever the fuck happens, I just don't care anymore. You know, I'm just your average quote unquote cis straight guy, because in a woke world apparently you're not allowed to mention that, to be woke essentially. You know, the only reason I'm attracted to men, for example, it's because I'm straight. The only reason I'm non-binary is because I'm cisgender. So literally you confuse their fucking narrative and make it harder for them. It's probably my only solution to that. So it's bullshit. Yeah, anyway, I've got much else to say. As I said, this is just extremely concerning. Something needs to be done, and as I said about Labour, they need to start investigating people doing this. So reform, obviously Restore Britain, I think this is a new one that they're talking about with Rupert or something. They need to investigate the voters of them. They literally need to do a lot of things, and also that's the other thing that's said in the video. Like someone worried about their daughter being succumbed to Islam. Why does it even fucking matter? The thing is, you don't even need to vote someone to do this. You could just tell her. You could tell her the bullshit I've been told. I've got two sides of the story in this sort of thing with religion. But instead, they go for doing political change rather than having an actual conversation, a meaningful conversation. And even if she does go to something like Islam, you could talk her out of it and keep trying. But you know, you're not taking responsibility as a parent, and I would argue it's more irresponsible to be at one of these marches and saying all this bullshit and supporting corrupt people like Tommy Robertson, like apparently Rupert, and apparently Nigel Farage. So it's just really stupid. It's especially demonstrated with, you know, that sign that appeared that someone tried to fucking unhook. God, that was funny. It's like watching a bunch of fucking zombies. It's just like, looked at it, didn't like it. It's idiots. Anyway, better move on. Get to the next topic. Yeah, so I did go to see a house, and yeah, it's not a big deal. It's just one of those things I already knew it wasn't going to be likely to like it, but I was willing to be proven wrong, and yeah, I was still right, which is a bit frustrating. So I went in, and it seems like the issue was exactly what I suspected it was, which is noise, because of where it is basically. So it becomes an issue there. Yeah, it's like, it's not great. But in terms of noise, surprisingly it has to be better than my first place I've ever lived in, which is bizarre given how busy it is. So it's extremely strange. Like, I never expected that because I assumed I'd already seen the worst. Turns out not really. But it's kind of crazy. So yeah, it's just like, what the hell's going on? How do they build these houses so shit? But the worst part was the door. I could hear everything through the door, not just the front door. Even when it was like half closed, it wasn't closed properly. There was no seal. It's just really bad in that way. But the sad thing is the inside is pretty decent, other than one side of the door, one not. I could literally tap it and hear something through it, but the other one I couldn't. Yeah, it's like comparing, I don't know, this door knob to this. But that's the difference. So I didn't really like that, to be honest. I think both should have been just, you know, solid like that, so you can hear it. So the other thing is, it had a reasonably sized bath. I've never seen a bath so fucking long. It's actually surprising. It's actually like 6 feet, I believe. Just nuts, like the same size as a bed. I've never seen anything like it. It's almost the perfect size for laying down in. Well, it does make me worry a bit, because that might be too big, too long. Not sure about the width. I forgot to check that. A toilet in a bad place. I didn't like that. Too close to the wall. I'll be sitting on it sideways probably, because that's like the best way to fucking get in there. Yeah, I also don't really care about the sink. But the bedrooms, they are kind of stunning, actually. I was genuinely surprised by the biggest bedroom in that place. So the living room's actually nice, but obviously too close to traffic. Kitchen decent, but bedrooms were kind of surprising. I think the biggest one was probably the biggest bedroom I've seen. Just hands down. I've seen big bedrooms before. It's actually the same size as one that I know, actually. Because I've been in a big bedroom before, and it's like pretty much the same size as the one I remember. So, it did catch me off guard, but I was like, wow. I had a crap, actually. I could look at pictures, I did take them. Yeah. The garden's also decent because there is a garden front. No front, really. Although there is a bit of one, actually, now I think about it. I never really checked that, actually. Yeah, so where's the bedroom outside in there? Yeah. Again, it's a decent size. You can actually see where the last bed was. Actually, maybe not then. It's about the same size as my current one, actually. I was probably mistaken in that. A bit bizarre. For some reason, the cobwebs in there, but not a big issue. Yeah, the bathroom's definitely nice. Also got ventilation in there, which is good. Certainly don't have enough of those. And the small bedroom, not bad. Hallway a bit cramped. Oh, the stairs are fucking horrible. I don't know why they designed them like that. But it basically feels like when you're going down the stairs, like you're going to fall because they're sort of sloped, which is very bizarre, but downwards. So it's very strange. And also the fact that there's only one toilet upstairs is a bit bad. The kitchen's quite big. It's not a bad size at all. Could probably fit a dining table in there at a stretch. And yeah, the garden could be a decent size. Given the time of day, actually, it's not bad in terms of the amount of sunlight you get. But yeah, I think once again it's like a thing. I'm just like, nah. Even though there are big benefits to going to a place like this, possibly, and making the cuts for something that's probably going to be inferior in a lot of other ways is not a really good choice. Because I think a lot of the trade-offs are a bit bizarre, and yeah, when I really sit down and think about it, comparing each place, this current one, the main issues, surprisingly, are not even outside, even though you can hear planes and stuff and stupid loud cars. But the main issue is you can hear other houses and doors closing and shit. And actually, I need to tell them. I'll need to report that actually, rather, because yeah. But basically, the doors close here, and I hear it through the wall, which I shouldn't be able to because it's across the fucking house. And because of how it's designed as well, it's not that simple, really. Like, fuck, I don't even know how much I could even say, like 3 floors, isn't it? I don't know. Technically 3 floors, but you know, the big problem there is that I can hear all that for some reason, when I can't hear everything else. Like, it's so bizarre. I just can't make sense of that. I don't know how it's travelling through the fucking wall. Genuinely makes no sense. But again, it's a thing where when I can make this more accommodating, speaking of which, I probably do need to get some new curtains because I think the noise travelling through these ones is a bit of an issue. But yeah, like comparing the two, with how viable it is for getting my own personal bathroom, which honestly would be great, I prefer that. In all honesty, it's much better in my opinion. That just seems like the best option to me, because that's going to have so many more benefits in the long run. Having a fucking personalised bathroom is just, yeah, it's without a doubt one of the best things you can get there. It's going to take some reorganising, I think, but it'd have the most benefit to me, and given how quiet it can be anyway on a good day, even just an average day, it can be quietish. You know, it's a no-brainer actually to just stick with this one. Like, it's crazy. But then I just need to have to look out for other places, I think, to actually know if there is something out there. And you know, it's like one of those things where if I could pick a place to buy, I'd be able to find one somewhere. I don't know where it'd be. To be honest, I'm thinking of like somewhere a bit further out, potentially. Not from where I am necessarily, but you know, a place basically. But whether that'll have like a sacrifice, obviously, of like being further away, but there will be a place, I think. Ideally, I know a place that actually I want to be, which ironically has a great view as well. But I don't know what places there are with that sort of thing, so whether there are places like it, like I'm thinking of, aren't even perfect, but they'll do. It's just a different story, and again, the main thing for me with the house I saw is the noise from the road. But if you can find a house for one person that's away from the main road, that's probably not exactly close to, let's say, a town or a street or anything, but somewhere near the outskirts, probably better. You get less noise, you get less nuisance, you get just less everything, which is good. Honestly, that's probably the better option. And even then, the only thing you have to worry about is like the same thing you have to worry about where I live, which is like distant car noise. But when I'm gaming, which is where I'm going to be most of the time, or doing hobbies, I'm not going to hear that much of it. So it's just one of those things. Like, you realise that where I spend the most time is going to be where I want to be the quietest. So at night, for example, I'll be happy in whatever size bedroom. But when I'm gaming, when I'm doing whatever it is, like guitar or something, you know, I literally want to be in a quiet place. Much like this, to be honest. It just has to be said, it is quiet, but not because of the housemates. Like, that's the other thing. The housemates are an issue in their own ways. They've caused me a lot of stress in different ways, I hate to say it. But they just have. But it's a result of shitty house, you know, building and stuff, and things not being accommodating. So I don't even know exactly what the best solution is here. How it's supposed to work, how it can work, rather. And you know, I've requested things multiple times to get done here, and they haven't. It's been, what, over a fucking year? And I'm not necessarily the person who could say, like, oh, can I have a look at your door? I want to see if I can do something about this to stop the door noise coming through the fucking walls. Not a hard thing to do, I don't think. Because it only takes a dampening effect. Simple. Problem solved. But no. Instead, they have the fucking loudest doors in the universe. I've literally never heard anything so loud. My first place, never that loud. Second place, not even that loud, even with the fucking front door opening, or rather shaking every door. But that was less severe than this, which is really saying something. I guess it just shows the terrible craftsmanship on this shit. But yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that place. It's just a matter of waiting now, I guess, until I get things done here, and also having problems solved. I think the only way this place is going to be quiet is if I can obviously deal with that, but the only other way is if I can just be left alone. You know, just have the house to myself. Sounds selfish, but that's the option. That's the only option I see working. Which is a shame, really, because it shouldn't be like that. Even in the case where, like, I do have other ideal situations that I can think of, but it's going with the realistic route, and I don't know how realistic it is in reality. You know, I miss living with certain people, and I also miss being able to have privacy. I do have privacy, but it's not perfect. So pretty sure people can hear me through here. I don't know how, because the house is built like shit. I don't know. Anyway, I ain't got anything else to add. Still busy with hobbies today. I actually got music done before looking at the house, which was crazy. Speed around there like a boss or something. Remember when like a boss was a thing? God, that was a old internet meme. I feel old already. I'm only 29. Might be 6, 7 next year, so yeah. Anyway, let's move on. So, this is coming as a bit of a surprise, but also good news in a way, because I had to test this game. Destiny 2. It's finally shutting down. In fact, fuck, to be honest, because I disliked it the moment it came out, and I tried it again later, I think, and I just hated it still. It's genuinely awful. I don't know how anyone actually likes that game, and it is coming from a first-person shooter fan like myself. I thought the gun gameplay was pretty bad, and this was back on launch, by the way, so maybe things changed, but hated it on launch. Getting the guns, upgrading them was not fun. There was just nothing good about it, ever, and even the raids and stuff weren't great. I didn't really understand it. I'm pretty sure I died a few times in them as well. So, yay. But you know, I just couldn't find myself liking it, and it doesn't surprise me, to be honest. Like, that's why I just get tired of that shit, really. Whenever it's, you know, these sort of games where they try something new and it fails at it spectacularly, like this did. It's also sad in a way, but also it's kind of like, yeah, I sort of saw it coming. Simply put, it's too live servicey, and that just made the game absolutely intolerable. To me, anyway. I could be wrong, but it was intolerable to me. And that, for me, is probably one of the biggest reasons that I just couldn't get along with it and couldn't enjoy it. It's just so many things about it were pissing me off. The PvP was bad. The raids were bad. Just so many really bad things. People really not tell the kids to shut up. It's fucking weird. Get it easy now. Yeah. Yeah. As I said, I'm just not a fan of live services, and even in the case of this bloody game, it's just one of those things where I'm just like, well, good, I guess. Because frankly, it was never good to begin with. I even thought the story was pretty bad. Like the fucking character, I forgot his name. I wasn't a fan of him. You probably know the one I'm talking about, the one with the mask. I think it was a robot actually. Or maybe an AI, I don't know. I'm never a fan of that. Sort of cringe characters. There's just so many things I disliked about it, and even then I think I remember there being problems with travel. So where most MMOs had a mount or vehicle system, this one said nope, you're not allowed that. You have to walk everywhere. You can feel legs apparently, but in that game, no. It's just a nuisance to play it, and I'm just kind of happy it's gone now. It's weird enough, I just despised it for so long. I started despising games because they end up going on for way too long, longer than they should. And that's because of like various issues. It's not even just personal gender, it's like legitimate issues. I remember the game starting to fail when they announced was it more sort of content, like another expansion, and that was sort of being in the news and talked about. I was like, why is this still going? It's literal utter crap. I just don't see how anyone could enjoy that. And there's so many things about it still disliked. I remember the class system actually. I believe I chose like a shielding one. I remember one that you could throw his shield down, I think, throw it on people or in front. It's like a dome sort of thing. Maybe it was a thing. Maybe I upgraded it actually. It's a bit hard to remember. This is like how many years ago? 7, 8 years ago. Quite a while. I couldn't get on with the game. I can't really say it's shameful that it's shutting down, but at the same time, it's like okay, good. Frankly, there are just some awful games out there. It's just a fact, unfortunately. But this was one of them, in all honesty. Like, I couldn't really give it any props for anything. Just didn't do it. It didn't do anything for me. There's nothing to do. And given that Overwatch was also out around the same time, I believe, it was even more like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to play it. It's just like, what the fuck is the point? It's a grind and it's like boring. And even the gun gameplay, the enemy design as well was pretty awful. I remember that. It's like the game is designed around gun gameplay, and then enemies, despite them having some movesets, they sometimes just stood still, and other times are like moving around, but more annoyingly than they should. Somewhat briefly remember that. I'm sure if I'm misremembering that. But that also tied into the issues with PvP, for example, where there are many issues with that. This is the sort of thing I'm talking about with this crap. It just is bad. Again, it's good that it's gone, and now it could give room to potentially a better game, maybe even a StarCraft MMO. Like, let's be honest, if Blizzard actually allow Bungie to make a StarCraft MMO, I'd play it, because I like StarCraft. I don't like playing it, but I like the story. I like the world. It's genuinely interesting. Hopefully we get to construct additional pylons. I look forward to that the most if we do get one. Imagine playing as that fucking race, I forgot what they're called. I know the Zerg are the alien ones. Kerrigan and Abatha. Abatha's brilliant in Heroes of the Storm. Probably one of my favourite heroes in that, actually. It's just so unique and goofy as well. But yeah, for some reason the name comes like Protoss, that's it. So yeah, must construct additional pylons. Must construct addition. Yeah, but if they make that, I think it could do well, potentially. Again, they have to not cock it up with, some of the stupid things they did in Destiny. Some more generous systems and stuff. That could benefit the game, really. What else? I don't even know. Again, I'm not really a designer, but even then, I know what I like in games, I know what I don't like. I like satisfying gameplay. It was like a dopamine response, hit marker and shit. I don't think I even had a hit marker, did it? Destiny 2. For some reason I remember something about that. It's like fundamental issues with the gameplay there. Yeah. At least it's gone now, I guess. It's good for some, not good for others, I suppose. I'm sort of in that camp, it's like, good. Also, like, assuming it was Bungie, I can't remember if it was Bungie making it now, or they said previously making it and then it changed hands. Their track record for shooters at this point is rather pretty bad. So it wouldn't surprise me if it was like, they just, stop making things, because just not got a good track record. It's just something that happens, unfortunately, with games, and I think you lose your reputation with controversial releases and stuff. So yeah, I don't really know what they could do to redeem themselves, honestly. Probably something, but it's probably this ain't it. That's the truth. Sorry about that. Just take the fan off. Pointless now because of how warm it is. God, I'm really feeling heat. I've been out in the sun a bit today. Way too long though. I think I was out for like 40 minutes. Fucking hell, actually. That's not good. I think I underestimated the time I spent. Yeah, so I'm probably a bit sunburnt. I didn't even know I was going out. That's the thing, I didn't put suntan on. I probably could have. I just couldn't really ask because I was inside a bit and then went out, did a walk, and oh, okay. It was nice though. Went to somewhere pretty far out actually. Yeah, I don't know what's out here. Yeah, the gaming industry is not really in a good place, and also we're just going to see more competition in for other specific games and examples because even with Destiny 2 here showing now, it's like that's going to bring competition to other games. So it's now going to be like unknown Marvel rivals in Overwatch versus God knows what the fuck else there is. So I don't know. It's kind of complicated in that sense about what they can do, what they're going to do. Also sort of unfortunate because it could be Westmore. I lost my headphones. Yeah. Anyway, I don't really have anything else to try to do. But I'm going to do an outro because I've gone on for a while. Yeah, but bye.